So again, the process reverse, negate, but here we've got an example with two variables in the necessary condition. What do? Especially because we have the word and here, there's some confusion I get a lot about and versus or. What do? We reverse negate like always, but when you're negating, and becomes or. Also, or becomes and. So the reason is that if we have two things required by X, in particular, in this case, two things are required to be out. If we had at least one of those in, that would be enough to tell us that X had not occurred. Anybody want to type for me in the chat what that result would look like if you were diagramming it? Perfect, Harry's got it. So Y or Z requires not X. Carney's got it also. Yeah, Whitney's got it, Ethan's got it, awesome. And yes, Alyssa, so if there are two variables and you negate them and it becomes or, exactly. And that's important to keep in mind. There are logic games conditional rules involving this very concept. They could give you an original rule involving and, they could also give you an original rule involving or, and you've got to flip it and change that as well. Harry's talking about the famous CDs game. Yes, if anybody wants to practice this on an actual game, Test 31 Game 2, the famous game featured in Legally Blonde as an exemplar of just how crazy and difficult logic games can be, or at least how crazy they can sound. Look up that game. So here's what it might look like. So if X is in, Y and Z are both out. That's how I might diagram it if I were drawing a picture. X in, Y and Z are both out. So X requires not Y, X requires not Z. Contrapositive, Y alone is sufficient to require X out, and Z alone is also sufficient to require X out. And having both of them in would also allow you to say X is out. So the funny thing is that you actually, in this rule, you don't need to draw anything about the or and the and specifically. It's already implicit. So this is nice. It's actually really clean and smooth. When you have the word and in the necessary condition, things are simple. Also, when you have the word or in the sufficient condition, things are also simple. It gets much more complex when things are the other way around. If you have and in the sufficient, it's complicated. If you have or in the necessary, it's also complicated. But this right here is very smooth. So that's why I started with this kind of example. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.